Hi vegan hearts! I believe that if you're watching this video, you're already a vegan heart or you have forgotten that you are one. And I'm here to remind you. In today's video, I want to talk about how yoga heals me from my sciatic pain, which I know was caused because different muscle groups in my body got very tight for different reasons. I came from a long period of inactiveness into, you know how it is, there are years go by, we don't do anything, and then suddenly we want to change. So when I started getting very active and I exercised a lot, I was doing a lot of stretches, and I was running a lot. And I always had a pelvic tilt. And I think that I did things wrong, I don't know, but I got sciatic pain, which was excruciating. And I had this for 1.5 years. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about yoga and about the forward bend. So at some point, my sciatica got so severe and was so bad that my whole hip was inflamed. My knees got inflamed, my feet hurt, and the side of my rib cage. So going into a forward bend at the beginning was practically impossible, because when my hip was so inflamed, it was the weakest point in my body. And every move, I actually never understood it, but every move you make, no matter what move, comes from your hip. Your hip, my hip was my center. When my hip is weak, I can't move. And when you go into a forward bend, it's a hip movement. So when you don't have strength into your hip, and going into it is actually easier than coming out of it. So in the beginning, I was holding on to the furniture and really carefully in slow motion. I was just thinking in my head, forward bend. I could actually not doing a forward bend because there was so much pain. There was so much pain I was expecting, because this electrical shock could appear anytime, and I didn't know what move would trigger it. The inflammation just gave me a feeling of weakness, of all over weakness in my hip. So I just did what I can, and it wasn't much in the beginning. I was breathing into my rib cage. I was like pulling my toes off the floor. I was holding the pose as long as I could, and most of the time I had to come up because my legs started cramping. And I did this every day. And it was like a miracle, because I realized that because I did it every day, I found me recovering a little bit from day to day. And now it's like after 5 months, I can bend, or like it's almost 5 months. And I find myself, I can bend forward like I couldn't do before. When I started, I was practically upright, and now I can bend forward. I can pass the 45-degree angle, and I can hold in the pose very long. And while practicing, it felt like if you imagine, like, figure a dried out river somewhere in the desert, and suddenly there's coming a little bit humidity from deep from the ground, and then every day there's a little bit more water, and then a little bit more water, and then you have some small pads of water where the water is gathering, and then suddenly there's a little water flow, and then it gets bigger and bigger, and then suddenly you have a real river flowing, and then the area around this river, there's starting plants growing, and trees start growing, and this is how I felt like my pain was changing. And the strength in my hip was coming back like this water in the river. And this is what I want to share today. And I just want to say that I feel great. And I know that I can heal myself. And I want to finish off this video with a request. And I ask you, please veganize it. Your mind, your heart, the world. Bye.